One of the reviewers of the first edition of New Model of the Universe remarked that two ideas in the book presented particular difficulties for them: the idea of esotericism, and the idea of the psychological method. It cannot be denied that in general, these ideas are far from modern thought. First, both ideas need the recognition of the fact that human thought can work on very different levels. Whether people of higher mind exist now and have existed always, whether they appear on Earth only at long intervals is immaterial. The point is that they exist and that we can come into contact with their ideas, then through these ideas with esoteric knowledge. This is the essence of the idea of esotericism. In order to understand what is meant by the psychological method, it is necessary to realize that the ordinary human mind, the one we know, can also work on very different levels, and then to find the relation of the psychological method to the esoteric method. We can see different levels of thought in ordinary life. The most ordinary mind, let us call it the logical mind, is sufficient for all the simple problems of life. We can build a house with this mind, obtain food, know that 2 and 2 make 4, that the Volga falls into the Caspian Sea. So that in its proper place the logical mind is quite right and quite useful. But when the logical mind meets with problems which are too big, and when it does not stop before them but starts out to solve them, it inevitably falls down, loses touch with reality and becomes in part defective. To this defective mind and defective method of observation and reasoning, humanity owes all superstitions and false theories, all fundamentalism and psychoanalysis. However, a logical mind which knows its limitations and is strong enough to withstand the temptation to venture into problems beyond its powers or capacities becomes a psychological mind. The method used by this mind, that is, the psychological method, is first of all a method of distinguishing between different levels of thinking, and of realizing the fact that perceptions change according to the powers and properties of the perceiving apparatus. The psychological mind can see the limitations of the logical mind and the absurdities of the defective mind. It can understand the reality of the existence of higher mind, and of esoteric knowledge, sensing its manifestations. In this book, A New Model of the Universe, is shown how the problems of space-time are connected with the problems of the structure of matter, and consequently the structure of the world, how they lead to a right understanding of the real world, avoiding a whole series of unnecessary hypotheses, both pseudo-occult and pseudo-scientific. The new model of the universe establishes the unity of space and time, and the difference between them. It establishes also the principle that space can pass into time and time into space.